Hey everyone, it's a few days before Christmas, and I unfortunately had to set my i400 sub aside for a couple of days so that I could work on another project. See, my dad always, when I ask him what he wants me to get him for Christmas, he always says, "Make me something. Don't buy me something, make me something." And I can never settle on something to make for him. But this year, well, I was in the hobby shop and I saw something that I thought he would really like. So I picked it up and I built it. No, I'm not going to reveal it yet, just in case, on the incredibly slim chance he may happen to see this video, which is basically nil, but even so. But I will have some pictures posted up on eScale Models on the 26th of this month. So, you know, just follow me on Twitter, and I'll post a link as soon as the thread goes up on eScale Models. So my i400, it is coming along. I've got some of the photo etch installed. I've got the crane assembled for the deck. I've got all of the pilot holes for the railings, the photo etch railings all drilled. I haven't assembled any of them yet. I'm still a little nervous about that, but it should go fairly smoothly. I just, you know, need to be patient. The main reason, though, that I'm talking to you today is because it's been kind of an expensive couple of weeks. The hobby shop here in my town has gotten some interesting new stock in recently. So this is going to be a three-part video as I show off each of the three new models that I've bought in the last 10 days or so. So first up is Bandai's Real Grade RX-78 Gundam. As with most new series that Bandai does, the RX-78 Gundam is the first release in this series. I believe the kit was released sometime last year. And the Real Grade series is basically, to my understanding, basically it's like taking the perfect grade concept and scaling it down. This is a 1/44 scale kit. So, you know, about the same size as a typical high grade, maybe about 5 inches tall. But supposedly incredibly well detailed, and the mechanical frame detail, I think, is primarily pre-assembled. So it uses their system injection technology to really show off, or to really to build the frame and make it really well posable. For such a small scale. So yeah, let's take a look at that. The Real Grade series is, to the best of my understanding, basically an attempt to scale down the Perfect Grade series, to make it a little more affordable. Because the Perfect Grade kits, they're very big and they're very expensive, and they don't make very many of them. So this is an attempt to make them a little more accessible by making them smaller and a little more affordable. So anyway, on the box cover, I believe all the boxes are fairly similar. You've got like this big CGI image of whatever model, whatever mobile suit's head. In this case, obviously, it's the RX-78, and then you have a photo of the completed model on the right. On the sides, you've got some additional photos, the assembled frame, core fighter. I'm not sure if the core fighter transforms. I believe it does. And then another photo of the fully assembled kit. Other side, so let's see what we got inside. Pretty colorful. First up, let's cut these open. First up, let's take a look at all of the markings. We've got a few chrome stickers here for the eyes, I believe some additional stickers for the joints, and then lots and lots of assorted markings. White base, RX-78, these would go on the shoulders. Lots of other stuff that would go on various other joints, technical markings, etc. Kind of a bummer that they would do these as stickers rather than water slide decals, but that's Bandai for you. They always, you know, give you the short shrift on the stickers and then make you pay extra for the decals later on. First runner uses their patented system injection. You can see there's 3 different colors, or 4 actually. There's clear over here, the bright yellow, which has the blocks that go on the waist armor, the collar, the big cross on the shield, chest vents, sensor for the beam rifle. I believe these would be the forehead Gatling cannons. In the center we've got, these look like maybe parts for the calves, parts for his elbows and forearms maybe, and beam saber blades. Next up, another system injected runner. We've got all the blue parts here. We've got the chest and back, the canopy, the pilot's entry door essentially. A few other odds and ends, parts for the core fighter. There may be a few additional blue parts here and there, but they'd be further into the box, obviously. We've got all the red stuff. We've got the shield here, all the feet parts, additional parts for the core fighter and torso. And then we've got some sort of pink, maybe magenta almost, parts that I can't identify because I can't think of any parts that would be this color on RX-78. And likewise with this blue, I don't really know where these can come from. Maybe parts for the core fighter, and maybe this is additional parts for the entry door, but I don't know why they molded in this sort of baby blue. But anyway. Next up, I think there's probably 2 of these. We've got parts for the kneecaps, the shins, some parts for the feet. I believe these are parts of the shoulder armors. Some other stuff I can't quite recognize. A lot of this stuff is really, really small. I got big, huge, meaty sausage fingers, so this is going to be pretty tricky. Yeah. And some more additional parts for calves, backs of the legs and feet, ankle armors, maybe the thigh armor, more parts for the shoulder armors, more parts for the knees, the blocks for the circular shaped blocks for the elbows and knees, and the beam sabers. Which are one piece, but still have an opening in the end for the blade. All right, here we're getting into some of the interesting stuff. The runner at the top says Advanced MS Joint. All of this is pre-assembled. These are all the mechanical joints for the torso, it looks like, the legs, forearms, feet, hands. Jesus Christ, the hands are molded as one piece and still posable. And it looks like this is probably the waist. This looks like this is amazing. Like, take a look at this. You can see like the whole foot. It's all molded together as one part on the runner, but it's undulating. You can see everything's moving. It's all. This is incredible. Like, I don't know how Bandai does this. How they're able to develop this kind of technology to mold this stuff as one part and still have it posable. It's staggering to me. You know, what an age we live in. We've got some more mechanical parts. The mechanical portion for the torso. I believe these are the engine exhausts for the core fighter. Thrusters for the bottoms of the feet, maybe. Don't really recognize the rest of it. More mechanical parts. We've got a collapsed core fighter here. Parts for the head frame, I think. Frames for the skirt armors. That's all I can make out on there. Parts for the weaponry. We've got the beam rifle barrel. We've got his backpack. The magazine for the hyper bazooka. The handle for said hyper bazooka. The armament for said hyper bazooka. The top frame cover for the beam rifle. Shoulder armor frames. Beam saber covers, thrusters for the backpack, knee joint covers. Yeah. And last pair of runners here. More weapon stuff. We've got the actual barrel halves for the bazooka, which are hollow and open. You can see clean through them. More parts, it looks like, for the Hyper Bazooka armament. The hand grip and frame mechanical parts for the beam rifle. I don't know why they're molded in gray, in this sort of light cream gray. Top of the head, more parts for the shins and knees. Shoulder armors. See, this is what I said before. I thought there'd be a matched runner for that first one that we looked at. I guess they just put all the additional parts on this one to save space, maybe. So yeah, that's pretty much all that's left on there. And last up, we've got the rest of the frame for the shield. We've got an extra pair of beam sabers. More armors for the legs. More parts for the top of the head. We got the forehead sensors and the V-crest. Armor for the back of the head, molded as one piece for some reason. That's not very common. We've got the vents for the sides of the head. I've built a lot of RX-78s, and these halves are always done. The back of the head armors are always done as multiple parts, so that's kind of a surprise to see a single part like that. And yeah, I guess pretty much everything else on here looks like it's all duplicated elsewhere. But again, I don't know why it comes with 4 beam sabers. That's kind of a surprise to me. But I've neglected to mention to this point, because it pretty much goes without saying, because it is a Bandai Gundam kit, especially a high-end kit, but this tooling is fantastic. Like some of these parts have incredibly fine panel lines. You probably can't even make it out, but take a look. You can actually maybe see a little bit in the reflection on this back of the thigh piece, or back of the calf piece rather, is like there's crisscrossing panel line detail all over it, and it just looks top notch. The panel lines are so fine. I can't believe it. And finally, we've got the instruction booklets. Typical of Bandai, fully printed in color for the front page. Everything else appears to be black and white, with some tips for assembly at first. You got a breakdown of all the different runners, an assembly with key areas printed in red. Starting with the legs, moving on to the waist. Center section, wow, all printed in color. Very nice touch. Not too different from their master grade kits, showing off the model in a lot of different poses, with some shots of the Gundam from the animated series, and showing off some of the posability of like the leg joints and the hands, etc. Very nicely put together. And finally, moving on, we've got the torso, the arms, head, and finally the weapons and core fighter. It does look like the core fighter is transformable and can be used for the torso, but I think there's also a separate torso block that you can use if you want to display the core fighter separately. And finally, we've got marking guide, which is pretty involved. So that's it. Real Grade Gundam. Excitement embodied. Also, it says on the bottom of the instructions, and I believe it says on the cover of the... where'd you go? There it is. It says on the front, the box cover as well. Real Grade is a new brand which, as its name indicates, aimed to be the real thing. We want to tell all generations who know Gundam of the pleasure and excitement of making a mobile suit. Please be sure to enjoy the numerous gimmicks incorporated in this palm-sized 1/144th scale model. So they've included a mission statement. So this will be my first foray into Bandai's Real Grade kit series. It's a really nice looking model. I'm actually a little intimidated because, as I said, I've got these giant meaty paws and they don't work well with really tiny parts. So it's going to be interesting just putting this thing together. Not to mention, you know, if I decide to paint it and strip it down and redo it. I am incredibly impressed, though, by the fidelity of the system injection, as well as just the overall detail on all the parts. You know, they set out to make, you know, an incredibly highly detailed, you know, very small model series, and I don't think they could have done much better. And this is just their first run out of the gate, so you know they've hit a home run to start on this series, and it's been going on now for about a year and a half, and I think they're up to 7 or 8 kits released, including, I believe, they've done the Zaku in both the standard green and Shaw's red. They've done the Strike from Gundam Seed, I believe. If it's not out yet, it will be soon. The Freedom, also from Gundam Seed. I think they've done a few others from the Universal Century era. A couple, I think, from the new Gundam Zero or whatever the current series is. I haven't paid much attention to the current anime lately. So I don't even know what it's called. I think it's Gundam 00 or Gundam O or something like that. But apparently it's really good. I haven't really gotten into the mecha design. But yeah, I think they're up to like 6 or 8 kits released up to this point. And what I've been hearing is that they're all top-notch and everyone is better than the last. So yeah, I think they've hit on something here. And I hope this doesn't mean that they're going to discontinue the Perfect Grade series, because I still want my Perfect Grade Freedom, damn it! They've done a Strike Freedom, but they won't do the earlier version, and that pisses me off. I've been waiting for a Perfect Grade Strike... sorry, they did the Perfect Grade Strike and Strike Rouge and Strike Freedom, but they have not done the standard Freedom, and that just infuriates me, because that is my favorite mobile suit design of probably the last 10 years. Anyway, enough ranting. Like I said, it's an absolutely top-notch looking kit, and I can't wait to get started on it. I'll probably just do basic assembly for now, knock it out in a couple of days, and post some pictures up on eScale Models, so do check that out. That was my mom. So yeah, do follow me on Twitter. I will be posting updates on there, as well as photos of the build process there and on eScale Models. Next up, we're going to take a look at Round 2's reissue of the Enterprise C.